Hi, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kira.
And we are the Keepers of the Books, your online librarians. And we're here with a weekly reads episode for you. My first book is Snowman, The True Story of a Champion by Katherine Hapka. And it is adapted from the book by Rutherford Montgomery. I am not normally a fan of horse books. This one may have changed all of that. So this one is based on a true story that happened in the 60s. And it's about a large gray gelding. And Harry Delaire, he was running late. He was going to buy a horse at this auction, but he had some trouble with his car and he didn't quite get there on time. And basically all the horses were taken. So they're being packed into this truck to be made into meat. He shows up and he's like, well, can I just look at the horses anyways? And he looks and there's one, a large gray gelding that looks like it's been a plow horse on a farm, but it winks at him. At that point, he just says, you know what, that horse has some spunk to it. It's in pretty bad shape, but I'll give you $80. So he buys the horse for $80 and his wife's like, $80? What kind of horse did you buy? So the horse gets home and his family absolutely falls in love with this horse. It is just so gentle and basically it stumbles over sticks. He trains jumpers and show horses and there's no way. But he's like, well, this is a big horse and it'll be great for teaching the girls to ride. So a lot of the girls at the school that he teaches at do decide that they love riding the horse, but in the end, he ends up selling it to a neighbor. But the horse starts escaping
by jumping over things.
Really, really high things that should be impossible to jump over.
He ends up buying the horse back.
Here's a picture of the horse. That's Snowman. It likes to swim. It likes to jump. I mean, look at how high that horse can jump. He ends up winning just prizes and prizes and prizes. And I really don't think I'm spoiling anything because it's history. I loved this book and I just thought it was totally loving and endearing. Grades 5 through 9, just depending on the kids. So ages 10 and up.
Radiant Child, the story of young artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. Admittedly, I'd never heard of this artist, but the story was just really endearing about a little boy who starts young, learning to love to draw, but when he reaches a certain age, his mother gets put in a mental health hospital, and that's really his way of still connecting with his mom, even though they're not together. And as he grows up, he becomes more of an artist and actually becomes really famous. He's from the same time period, apparently, as Andy Warhol. It was a time period where everything was very out-of-the-box art. I liked this one because the way the pictures are done, it looks almost like a painting told in picture frames. Very uniquely done, so I can see why it won the Caldecott. Because you definitely want to read it for the pictures, but the story's fun too. Great for preschool all the way up to probably in 3rd, 4th grade, or ages 3 to about 9 or 10. Fred Bowen's Outside Shot. This is a review copy from Peachtree Publishers, and it is ages 7 through 12. You could go a little bit higher, 13 or 14, if you have a reluctant reader. That's grades 2 through 6. But you could do 2 through 7, maybe 8. The reading level is a little easier, and it is written in that reluctant reader, high-low format, short chapters, lots of white space. You do have a lot of sports scenes, which is really a popular style with that age range for boys, because a lot of those boys do tend to like sports. And those type of stories and plot lines really pull the kids in, and it's like they're reading a game for part of it, and then they're getting the story and the interaction of the characters behind the scenes. This is about 8th grader Richie Malone. So Richie Malone's always known that he is a great shooter and that he is just really good. He practices all the time. He tries out for the team and he starts shooting. And then you have team tryouts and people are reminding him that not only is he a shooter, but a great player is more than a shooter. A great player has to share and be a team player and do other things too, rebounds and all that other stuff. The coach is pretty tough on them and he drives them to be the best players they can. So in the back, the real story, they're great shooters. And I liked that this one talks about John Stockton. And it talks about Larry Bird and some others. But nobody is going to forget the end of the game when John Stockton gets the ball and shoots it from like...
It was like half court, and they shoot the ball, and oh my gosh, it was such a good game.
And made it, and then got into the NBA Finals for that year.
That was a good game.
The Chicago Bulls. Oh my gosh, that was such a good game.
Okay, that is a game you'll never forget. So that's in the back, and a history of some other shooters as well. It was a fun book. It's going to definitely appeal to a lot of boys.
This is the Zodiac Legacy number 3, The Balance of Power by Stan Lee. Fast forward to Jessica's next book, Superman.
If you haven't read books 1 and 2.
This follows the story, once again, of Stephen Lee, who has lost his powers due to Marshall stealing all the powers and turning into a really nasty version of the dragons, which is the like major powerful zodiac power. His friends have gotten kidnapped by various people that work for Marshall, and so he has to figure out a way to find Jean U that is holding all the Zodiac powers. And in order to do that, he'll have to go on a really hair-raising adventure with the help of the tigers from the past who've been the Zodiac tigers in order to figure out how to save the world again from this nasty dragon creature. But they keep saying you need to pick either your friends or your family or face your doom. And nobody really knows what happens when the dragon is defeated because it's happened in generations past, but people have forgotten. Forget the text. I love the pictures. Although the text is really good too. These pictures are amazing. I just can't believe how detailed these pictures are. And he did this in conjunction with Stuart and Andie Tong, so I'm not really sure which one illustrated them. You'll just fall in love with these pictures and will be excited when they pop up in the book. And they actually kind of pertain to what's going on in the text too, so they really go hand in hand with each other. I was actually very sad. This is the final one in the series too. So great for lecture readers, grades 5 through all the way even through high school or ages 10 and up. This is a review copy from Disney Press and I'm so glad they sent it.
My next book is Superman Science, and it is by Tammy Enns. This is a capstone book. Well, what better way to get kids to read about science than to put Superman in the title?
There's even a Batman one.
And there are 4 books in the set. Capstone does books in sets. This one talks about different things that would pertain to Superman, like ultimate speed and flying at the speed of sound and sonic booms. And so Superman's in there, and you have your science and you have your pictures or your primary source documents. You have other questions, and you have some science terms too. It defines at the bottom molecule and hypersonic, and if you notice, those are in bold. So this is a great book that way, and it's going to more pertain to your elementary school range.
I could see even a reluctant reader, junior high student reading it.
And it does tie into Superman, our conclusion here. It talks about the Man of Steel and how all these science things play into his life. You have a glossary, where to read more, and some internet sites. And of course, an index.
The next 2 books I'm going to cover together. They're from the Simon Thorn series by Aimee Carter. First one is Simon Thorn and the Wolf's Den. The second one is Simon Thorn and the Viper's Pit. So Simon Thorn is very much your misfit kid. He's been raised by his uncle Daryl, and his mom's always traveling. He hardly ever sees her. He just has some fun postcards to remember her by. And as time has gone on, they become more erratic, less frequent, and he's actually a little bit worried about his mom. Cool thing is, he can talk to animals, and they can talk back. The problem is the kids in his school are kind of bullies about it, and he's on the run from them when he runs into an eagle who says, "You have to come with me, you're in danger, your mom sent me." And then he gets attacked by rats, and then when he gets back home, his mom's there, and so is Daryl, and they inform him that he is an amalgam, basically a shapeshifter, and they don't know what form he can take yet. That's the problem. His mom's an eagle, his dad was a wolf, and he's a hybrid, which is very much frowned upon in their whole amalgam world. Before the rats can attack in the house, they escape, but the mom gets kidnapped. The Daryl guy disappears. By talking to some other creatures, finds out his mom is probably underneath the Central Park Zoo being held captive by the Alpha. In an attempt to save his mom, he and another girl he meets along the way, Winter, try to make their way into the zoo, but end up discovering much more than they could have ever expected. The second book, Simon Thorn and the Viper's Pit, he has discovered he has a twin brother. His grandma's really the Alpha, that's after him and his mom, and his uncle, Malcolm, is the beta of all the wolves. He's not just any amalgam, he's of royalty. And there's a war going on with all the amalgams as a result of him and his brother turning out to be the Beast King's heirs. Whoever can find the scepter that controls Beast King's heirs' powers will be able to control the world. But some of the people don't want to have to co-control the world. They want to kill off Simon and his brother. Very intense reads, very action-packed. I highly recommend them. If you like fantasy adventures that are similar to Rick Riordan, you'll love these books. I would recommend them for the same age range as Rick Riordan's books, grades 5 to 9 or ages 10 to 15.
The 101 Coolest Simple Science Experiments. Awesome Things to Do with Your Parents, Babysitters, and Other Adults. By Rachel Miller, Holly Homer, and Jamie Harrington. They are the team behind the Kids Activity blog and the Quirky Mama Facebook page. This is a review book from Page Street Publishing Company. I really liked this book because in it I saw experiments that I did with my 7th grade science class, and I went, the way this is written and the way they're talking about these things, these guys have got to be teachers. So I looked in the back.
And what do you know?
So Rachel Miller is an educator. She is a specialist in non-traditional learning techniques and teaches a class in integrated chemistry and art for grades K through 8 and engineering for grades 3 through 7. Holly Homer is a retired physical therapist. Her favorite subjects were gross anatomy and chemistry. They're chemists. And chemistry chicks have got to stick together. She has served as a volunteer teacher, science teacher for grades 5 through 8. And then you have Jamie Harrington, who loves science. She loves teaching science to her class, but they're kindergartners. It says kids ages 5 through 12. I think I would go up to 8th grade for this because some of this does fit into the 8th grade core as well. But these science experiments are great for 7th and 8th grade. You could do some of them in biology too, as simple introduction experiments. Slime is all the rage. So this is magnetic slime, and the recipe for that. It's got a mess meter, it requires adult supervision, and it has safety precautions. I like that they include that because that's really important. And safety equipment is very, very important in science. There are so many cool experiments in here. Naked eggs, I did this with my 7th grade science class to show them the inside of a cell, basically. There's lung capacity, glitter germs is cool.
Glitter germs.
That one would be really cool with like kindergartners and 1st graders. Glitter germs, glitter germs.
Glitter, it gets everywhere.
This one doesn't require adult supervision, but it does have some mess because we all just love cleaning up glitter all the time.
Make sure to do a glitter experiment in your kitchen or somewhere
outside.
Outside.
There were a couple ones that would work for chromatography in here. And atom models, of course. You study the models in paper bridges, magnetic mud. Ooh, magnetic slime and magnetic mud. Fun. If you haven't seen the copper train, I actually did this with my Future Cities Club, and we made a copper train for our model. And that one was really fun. But you have to make sure you have really strong neodymium magnets, which is why I'm going to say adult supervision on that one, because those magnets are, they're really strong and you can get hurt. And then your copper does have to be uncoated. So like jewelry wire is not going to work, jewelry copper. You have to make sure it's raw, bare copper.
That explains this safety precaution measure on that one. 2 slime recipes. Oh,
I know you guys like watching slime videos, but more fun is making and playing with your own slime.
it's so addictive.
And it's more satisfying. Exploding peeps. Well, no, you're not supposed to explode them, but you do put them in the microwave. Perfect for Easter. You can get peeps right now. So you need to get this book just so you can do that experiment for Easter. Anyways, great, really based in curriculum and in science. This is a must-have for parents and science teachers and kids who love science. So make sure you get this one. This is an amazing book. So that is our weekly reads with some fun books, both fiction and nonfiction, for a variety of ages. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so that other people can find and enjoy the love of reading as well. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.